Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om. What are the scriptural texts a student of Vedanta must study? If you can see the slide and if you can read Sanskrit, you will read perhaps one of the most important texts is the Bhagavad Gita. The Vedas, which are the source book for Hindus, are voluminous. Fortunately for us, Sri Krishna has condensed the entire Vedas into the Bhagavad Gita with 700 verses. Adi Shankara has mentioned that the study of the Bhagavad Gita is equal to studying of all the Vedas. Bhagavad Gita is part of Vyasacharya's Mahabharata. It is in the form of a dialogue between Lord Krishna and Arjuna. Just as democracy is of the people, for the people, and by the people, the Bhagavad Gita is composed by a householder, Vyasacharya, for a householder, Arjuna, and here all of us, delivered by a householder, Lord Shri Krishna. It is a user's manual for a man steeped with all worldly issues and therefore so very relevant to all of us. What is the message of the Bhagavad Gita? The essence of all Upanishads, as given in the Chandogya Upanishad, is although we think we are ordinary, we are not ordinary. We are already that. And in Sanskrit, there is a very cryptic phrase. These are called Mahavakyas. And the phrase is Tat Tvam Asi. Tvam means you, Tat means that, you are already that. Which means our essential nature is divine. Our essential nature is infinite or limitless. If my essential nature is limitless, then why do I experience so much of limitations? The example given is your water tank is full of water, but when you open the tank, when you open the tap, no water. That means between the water tank and your tap, there must be some obstacle. So between me, the true nature, and the experience of my true nature, there are certain obstacles. The obstacle is clearly in my mind. That is why when we are fast asleep, we have no experience of any form of limitations. And because there are no limitations whatsoever, we are like limitless, and therefore wherever there is limitlessness, we experience anantatvam or ananda. The moment we wake up, what is waking up? Waking up means when the mind wakes up. That means the Parabrahma, Paramatma in all of us now is filtered through the mind, and the mind has got three basic problems. These are the three levels of obstacles. Technically, and this I have discussed earlier also, these are called mala or impurity. The mind has got certain desires like kama, and from kama comes krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya. Now, this is an intrinsic aspect of the mind. The mind cannot be happy as it is. It has got a desire, and from desire is born all other impurities. The other problem of the mind is called vikshepaha. Vikshepaha means, just watch your mind, so difficult to keep your mind still. The mind tends to be restless. The mind tends to wander, and therefore become aware of the second problem of the mind, that is called restlessness. The third is called avarana. We are all born with the mind, which has a basic limitation that the mind does not know that I am limitless, I am ignorant. So therefore, all our scriptural work, all our Vedantic work is to awaken that aspect of the mind, the intellect, that I am not a limited being. How does the Bhagavad Gita do? The Bhagavad Gita has got 18 chapters. The 18 chapters can be divided into groups of 6 called Shatkams. And each of these Shatkams deal with certain sadhanas. The first Shatkam deals with the sadhana of Karma Yoga to purify the mind of Mala. The next 6 chapters treat us or train us with the sadhana of Upasana to make our mind less and less restless, more and more quiet, through bringing bhakti, through bringing love, through bringing various forms of meditation. And the last 6 chapters, which talk about spiritual knowledge or jnana yoga, beginning with the 13th chapter, where Sri Krishna tries to tell us, you are not the kshetram, but the kshetrajnam, the one who is the experiencer of all these things. So this is a great gift that has been given to us. So we have the entire Veda summarized in just 700 beautiful verses. But of course, it is in Sanskrit, and therefore we have to learn some bit of Sanskrit because English translations will not do. English translation is a poor method of studying the Bhagavad Gita because the Gita is beautiful poetry, and you can see the beauty of the poetry when you learn in the original language. Also, in addition to learning the Bhagavad Gita in Sanskrit, not in translation, it makes such a difference if you have an acharya who has understood, who is living the Bhagavad Gita. And of course, because the Bhagavad Gita is poetry, it is not something just to know the meaning, but we have to learn to chant, we have to learn to sing the Bhagavad Gita. It may not be many verses, but you can take 1 or 2 verses and make it your verse and sing those verses or chant those verses. What is the glory of the Bhagavad Gita? The glory of the Bhagavad Gita is summed in one of the Gita Dhyana shlokas. Sarvopanishado gavo dogda gopala nandana. Sarvopanishado, that means the Upanishads can be compared to a cow, and the essence, that is the milk of all the Upanishads, has been extracted to us by the milkman, that is Sri Krishna, and gives it to all of us who are represented by the calf. That means we get the essence of all Vedanta. A person in a spiritual journey is not here for dharma, artha, or kama. We are here for parama purushartha or moksha. So moksha is our highest goal. Swamiji insists again and again, and I will insist also, that moksha is possible only through jnanam or through spiritual knowledge. Self-knowledge or spiritual knowledge is possible when we sit together and begin to inquire. Inquire about who am I, what is this world, what is this God, why is there so much suffering, and so on. Vedanti Vichara is possible only through Guru, Shastra, Upadesha, and that is why we've said what a wonderful tool the Bhagavad Gita is to study our true nature. To repeat once again, we are here for liberation or moksha. Moksha is possible only through Atma Bodha. Atma Bodha means my true nature. Bodha means knowledge. And Atma Bodha is possible through a form of a dialogue and an inquiry. And this is facilitated by the help of scriptural study under the guidance of a guru. Adi Shankara, who's written a commentary on the Bhagavad Gita and also has brought out the Bhaja Govindam song. In one of the concluding verses of the Bhaja Govindam, he says this, Bhagavad Gita kinchid adita. If you're able to study the Bhagavad Gita just a little, he says, Yamena na charcha. You are no longer in the domain of Yamadharmaraja. You are beyond the clutches of Yamadharmaraja because you have moved from death to deathlessness. You have moved from Kala, from time to eternity, when you have discovered your true nature. So the first text the glorious text that is available for us with the Bhagavad Gita. And as students of Vedanta, let us make this a yearning that I want to study the Bhagavad Gita. Let me study the Bhagavad Gita chapter by chapter, verse by verse, under the guidance of a guru. And each of these verses will be able to give me real wisdom. Once we have some idea of the Bhagavad Gita, you will realize, can I go to the source book of the Gita, that is the Upanishads. The Upanishads are also called the Vedanta. Osho, also known as Bhagavan Rajneesh, has this to say about the Upanishads. We are entering today into the most enchanting and the mysterious world of the Upanishads. The Upanishads are the highest as far as spiritual quest is concerned. Never before and never after has human consciousness attained to such Himalayan heights. The days of the Upanishads are truly golden. In the Bhagavad Gita also, because the Bhagavad Gita is a summary of all Vedas, it summarizes the Veda Purva and the Vedanta. Those portions of the Bhagavad Gita which talk about the Vedanta, suddenly when you come to the Vedantic portion within the Bhagavad Gita, you experience this enchanting, mysterious, and something so superlative. The Upanishads again are from the Vedas, and it is written in Sanskrit. Sanskritam is the oldest language in the world. The word Sanskritam is other than Prakritam. Prakritam means raw, unrefined, whereas Sanskritam means refined, transformed. So many people who have become enlightened have brought their enlightenment into the language, and therefore you see a lot of transformation in the Bhagavad Gita. For centuries, it has been an oral tradition. That means the language predated script. That is why from father to son, it has been transmitted by what is called Karna Parampara. It is by audio only. There is no written script. And much later, the Devanagari script was used to be able to write these Samskrita texts. What is the meaning of the word Upanishad? Upa means samipe or nearby. Upa means going close to a guru. Ni means to sit down, but at a lower level. Teaching can come only from a higher level to a lower level. Shad means destruction. Destruction of what? Our feeling of limitations, our feeling of bondage, because these are only experiences which are not real. There is one Upanishad among the 1,000-odd Upanishads. There are more than 1,180 Upanishads. The example I am giving is from an Upanishad called Muktikopanishad. In the Muktikopanishad, the teacher is Lord Rama. The student is Anjaneya or Hanuman. And in this Muktikopanishad, we know that there are so many Upanishads at one time, more than 1,000. As of now, around 100-odd Upanishads are available. Of these, 10 have been commented by Adi Shankara, and wherever the commentary by Adi Shankara and other great masters are available, scholars call such Upanishads as major Upanishads. That means, for example, Kaivalya Upanishad, Amrita Bindu Upanishad do not have commentary by Adi Shankara. They are called minor, but there is nothing minor. If you study those Upanishads, you will see the messages is as pure, as lofty as any other Upanishads. But why do we study these major Upanishads? We will see, because for one important reason, these 10 give a complete teaching that you have. And also, Vyasacharya has used quotations from these Upanishads in his Brahma Sutra. These 10 Upanishads have come from the 4 Vedas. From the Rig Veda, which is the biggest of all the Vedas, we have the Taittiriya Upanishad. The Yajurveda can be subclassified as Shukla or the white school, which has two Upanishads commented by Adi Shankara, Brihadaranyaka and Isha. And there is another school called Krishna or the dark school, which is Taittiriya and Katha Upanishad. The Samaveda has got two Upanishads commented by great masters, that is Keno Upanishad and Chandogya Upanishad. And then we have the Atharva Veda, which has at least three major Upanishads like Prashna, Mundaka, and Mandukya, and one minor Upanishad, which like Kaivalya Upanishad, which is recommended that we study all these Upanishads. I have spoken to you about the Bhagavad Gita, I spoke to you about the Upanishads. But the question is, how many Upanishads should we study? When this question was asked to Bhagwan Ramana, he said, to see yourself, how many mirrors do you need? Our scriptures can be compared to a mirror. When you see yourself in the mirror, you not just see your body, you begin to see who you truly are. And therefore, even one Upanishad studied thoroughly is enough. The Upanishads are extremely rare. That is the great treasure that we have got from ancient India. It is not available for everybody for three important reasons. One is to get a student for Vedanta. Those of you who are listening are among the rarest of rare. Very rarely a person, even among the religious people in India, very rarely, a very small percentage venture to come into the world of the Upanishads. Very rare. To get a teacher, very rare. And then this topic itself, of course, is so rarefied and so beautiful. That is why these things are extremely rare. The Upanishads, for that matter, all our scriptures answer these 6 questions. What is my true nature? Am I this body, or am I somebody who is embodied in this body? I see a world around me. So I call myself Atma, and what is not me, the world around me, is Anatma. What is this Anatma? If Atma and Anatma is there, there must be somebody who's created all of them. We call that Paramatma. Can my scriptures answer, give me information about my curiosity about all this? I see so much suffering. Is there an answer to this suffering? That is what we call moksha. And then what are those exercises that help me to move from bandha or bondage to moksha? Ultimately, you would have heard this word, arise awake, by Swami Vivekananda. The Upanishads want us to wake up. The Upanishads are giving us a wake-up call. To emphasize once again, what are the 3 important texts? We have to know some bit of the Vedas in the form of the Upanishads. We need to study the Bhagavad Gita. And the third is what is called the Brahma Sutra. Now, all our scriptures can be classified into 6 or 7 heads. One is called the Vedas or the Shrutis. Then you have the Sutra, the Smritis, the Purana, the Itihasa, the Bhashyam, and finally, a group of texts which are called Prakarana Grantha. The Vedas, which is the essential source book, can be divided into 2 major portions, the Veda Purva Bhaga and the Veda Anta Bhaga. And for students of Vedanta, our special focus will be the end portion. The end portion also means Vedanta, means the more rarefied. The essence of all the Vedas come in the Vedanta. Now, a little bit of information on the Vedas. The word Veda means a source of knowledge. It is derived from the root word vid, means to know. As students of our scriptures, we should have what is called Shraddha. And as Shraddha, we believe, and we not just believe, we are convinced that the Vedas are not human composition. They are revelations by Paramatma, by the Lord himself. And the rishis are the mantra. Those are the ones who have seen these mantras. They have heard these mantras. That is why these Vedas are called Shrutis. Shrutis means that which is heard. Apaurusheya means they are not human composition. They have been transmitted and received by highly refined people who are the rishis. And they have been transmitted, as I already said, by what is called Karna Parampara, from the ear to the mouth. That means through phonetics, through sound, and not hasta parampara, not through writing. So it is believed that they are not born out of human intellect. And the Vedas are also called pramanam. The word pramanam means a source of knowledge. Four Vedas, the Rig, Yajur, Sama, and Atharva. The oldest being the Rig Veda, and it is the biggest, consists of mantras, and most of them are in poetic form. The Yajur Veda is in prose form, and most of the Yajur Veda mantras are from a great sage called Yajnavalika. As I said, they have two classifications, Krishna and Shukla Yajurveda. The Sama Veda, which is the source of all music, and the mantras there are music. The Atharva Veda are mantras predominantly by two great rishis, Angiras and Atharva Rishi. So the Vedas are like petals with knowledge, but when they are codified and classified, they become Smritis and Sutras. What are Sutras? Sutras where the Vedic knowledge is given in a form of a cryptic statement, which is easy to remember. But then they contain loaded information. They are also called alpaksharam, with very few words, saravat, giving the essence, vishvato mukham. That means when you look at them in different directions, they are so poetic, they give multiple meanings. Here in sutras and in smritis, the Vedic teaching is given in a very organized and topical form. Example, we have the Brahma Sutra. Why do we have to study the Brahma Sutra? We have already the Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita. But for more advanced students, if you want to be logically convinced about the importance of Vedanta, that is why we study the Brahma Sutra. There are 555 sutras taken from the Upanishads, essentially, 4 chapters, and each section is called an Adhikaranam. Then we come to the next topic, which are called Smritis. Smritis, again, are, compared to Sutra, they are more elaborate. But compared to the Vedas, they are more organized. They are remembered literature because they are musical, they are poetic. The same Vedic teaching can be in a form that can be remembered. There is another set of literatures which are called Puranas. There are 18 Puranas and 18 Upapuranas. The word Purana means Pura Api Nava. Although they are very ancient, they are very relevant even today because they are truth in the form of stories. For example, you have the Harishchandra Purana. Now, the whole Purana is to give what one Vedic statement says, Satyam Vada, tell the truth. But here it is given in the form of a personification where Harishchandra becomes a personification of truth. Ahankara can be personified as Rakshasas. So most of these 18 Puranas and Upapuranas are by Vyasacharya. Now, there is a nice story about how the Bhagavad Purana has been revealed by Shukadev to Parikshit in the span of 1 week. It is a very interesting story that within 7 days, when Parikshit was cursed to die in 7 days, you could get enlightenment when you know your time is limited. And you know that you are here for Parama Purushartha. And you have access to a great teacher. And now nothing else is more important. Let me be able to get the truth. And the truth brought out through the Bhagavad Purana. The next important text is called the Itihasa. Itihasa means scriptures which are based on history. Iti means thus. In this way, evam, ha means definitely, asa means it has happened. The two itihasas are Ramayana, originally by Valmiki, 24,000 verses, and Mahabharata, 100,000 verses by Vyasacharya. Of course, both the Bhagavad Gita, the principal Upanishads, and the Brahma Sutras have been commented by Adi Shankara and other great acharyas, and these are called Bhashyam literature. Additionally, we have another set of teaching which is called the Prakarana Grantha. A Prakarana Grantha is a supporting text. It is also, it could be a preliminary text or even an advanced text to help us to study the Upanishads of Vedanta. The introductory texts are like what we are studying currently, Atma Bodha. Other more basic ones are Tattva Bodha, Viveka Chudamani, and so on. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.